Now, unfortunately, I cannot play the audio because there's music, as you can hear there. But yeah, this is the difference between both presidents that visited the border. Do you see a difference? I think it's quite clear, isn't it? I think it's pretty darn clear who is in better shape. I mean, wow. Incredible. Incredible. And leftist media's narrative now is that, oh, Trump's old dude. Trump's almost the same age as Joe Biden. It's not age that is the problem. It's the showing of said age, which is the issue. Getting old is a beautiful thing. As I've always said, we all know some folks who, won't get to see the age of 80. I know some folks who won't get to see the age of 30. Let alone, a couple that won't get to see 25, right? So getting old is a beautiful thing, but it's showing that age, which is the problem. But we got to talk about the border, because as you guys saw there, Trump and Biden both visited the border, which Biden's move was a little shaky, right? Trump had already planned the visit, and Biden recently announced the visit after Trump had already announced his visit and already planned it out. And Biden said, oh, well, we already had it planned, but, we couldn't announce it. They didn't want me to say anything. Don't believe that. I don't believe that even for an instant. But we've got to dive into this because there is a false narrative that Biden is still trying to push, and I want to discuss it with you all. Got a lot of clips to show you guys, so sit back, relax, and enjoy the show. Like, share, comment, and hit that subscribe button if you are new. And let's dive in.
Nice weather, beautiful day, but a very dangerous border. We're going to take care of it. Thank you.
Mr. President, do you have any legislation ideas for it?
Stay back here. Right here.
Well, a good reception, right? Which is why, I wanted to show you guys that because, Biden is, it almost feels as if he's staging a lot of these public appearances. I'm not going to dive too deeply into it today because I've already got a lot to show you guys, but it just feels staged, and I've seen some things that makes it look and feel really, really staged. You guys let me know in the comment section, do you feel the Biden administration is staging a lot of these public appearances that he's going out and doing? Let me know.
They like Trump. Can you believe it? They like the government.
Oh, man. I believe that was the Texas National Guard that was, yelling Trump, as you guys heard there. Now, let's jump into what they were talking about, because it's interesting as well.
The idea there's no such thing as climate change. I love that, man. I love some of my Neanderthal friends who still think there's no climate change. Well, my administration is going to keep building on the progress we've made fighting climate crisis, and we're going to help folks rebuild themselves.
Hold on. So you visited the border to talk about climate? And my question to Biden and anyone who pushes that climate crisis narrative, this is a genuine question. So when this planet went through an ice age, right? This is what they tell us. This is what they tell us. The planet went through an ice age, right? A lot of northern America was covered in ice. It was a sheet of ice. Okay? Now, when all of that ice melted and went away, and the planet, I would assume, warmed up, which caused the melting, right? Was that because of a bunch of humans driving around our big giant diesel trucks and gasoline consuming vehicles and putting a bunch of carbon in the air? Was that because of us when all of that ice melted in the, or I'm just asking, or was that just part of the Earth's cycle? I don't know. And, you know, I do find it interesting that we all have always had some type of crisis, right? Every 10 years. Some of you guys that have been fortunate to be on this earth longer than I have can remember it. And some of you have even commented on it. If you guys, as a matter of fact, if you guys can put the timeline in the comment section, I would greatly appreciate it. I feel like there's been a crisis every 10 years, every decade. There was one point in time where they were saying we're going to run out of oil, right? I'm sure most of you remember that. I don't remember exactly what years that was. Maybe it was the 90s, maybe it was the 80s, whatever. There was one point in time where they said all of the polar ice caps were going to melt, right? So you guys remember that. There was one point in time where they said, oh my goodness, we're going to freeze to death. Temperatures are going to drop dramatically. We're going to freeze. Sure you guys remember that. Then they said global warming. Oh my goodness, it's going to get extremely hot. Sure you guys remember that. And now they just say climate change. Kind of interesting how that works, isn't it? I'm just saying. But once again, if you guys could comment that timeline in the comment section of what years that was. I know a few of you have in the past, but I don't remember the exact time frames, those things where some of you might remember it a little bit better than me. But let's continue on with Trump's speech.
Folks rebuild themselves.
Just 1 week ago, a beautiful 22-year-old nursing student from Georgia was barbarically attacked, almost unrecognizable, while she was out on her morning run. She was doing keep herself in shape. She was a beautiful young woman. She was a great person, best nursing student there was. I spoke to her parents yesterday. They're incredible people. They're devastated beyond belief. But she was beautiful, just so beautiful in so many ways, and brutally assaulted, horrifically beaten, kidnapped, and savagely murdered. The monster that charged in the death is an illegal alien migrant who was led into our country and released into our communities by crooked Joe Biden. He's crooked. I took the name away from Hillary.
He is crooked. So you clearly see there who actually really cares about the American people. Biden talked about the climate while Trump talked about someone who lost their life. I actually saw the visual for that young lady, and lots of folks showed up. People cared about that young lady. So yeah, condolences to her family. I couldn't imagine. Man, couldn't imagine. But now let's get into the meat and potatoes of this. The part of this that I really want to address is what Biden said here about the border deal. Check it out.
I didn't get everything I wanted in that compromise bipartisan bill, but neither did anybody else. The compromise is part of the process. That's how democracy works. That's how it's supposed to work. Compromise is a very positive step on a critical issue for the country, all those issues for the country. And folks here in Brownsville and all along the border know that. We need to have their backs, your backs. I want the people to understand clearly what happened here. This bill was in the United States Senate, was on its way to being passed. Then it was derailed by rank-and-file politics, partisan politics. The U.S. Senate needs to reconsider this bill, and those senators who oppose it need to set politics aside and pass it on the merits, not on whether it's going to benefit one party or benefit the other party. It's about whether it benefits the American people. It's what the American people deserve. The Speaker of the House needs to put this bill on the floor, because if he put it on the floor unrestricted, it would pass. The majority of Democrats and Republicans in both houses support this legislation, until someone came along and said, don't do that, it'll benefit the incumbent. That's a hell of a way to do business in America for such a serious problem. We need to act. It's time for the speakers and some of my Republican friends in Congress who are blocking this bill to show a little spine. Pass a bipartisan, remember, bipartisan, conservative leaders supported this border security bill. Let's remember who we work for God's sake. We work for the American people.
Yeah, you should definitely remember that. The American people that have lost their lives because of what you've done. You should remember that. You should remember that, Joe. And I'll let Speaker of the House, Mike Johnson, take it away because he addressed Mike Johnson and told Mike Johnson that he needed to take up the bill for a vote. What most people don't know is Republicans actually already had passed a border bill a long time ago, mind you, passed it, sent it to the Senate, and it's been sitting on Chuck Schumer's desk the entire time. Nobody wants to talk about that, though. Republicans already passed the bill. They passed it a long time ago. Let's talk about Chuck Schumer not taking it up for a vote. How about that, Biden? How about that?
H.R. 2 almost a year ago now. Chuck Schumer's let it sit on the desk collecting dust. We'll continue to push. We passed H.R. 2 almost a year ago now. Chuck Schumer's let it sit on the desk collecting dust. We'll continue to push it, every piece of it, every initiative. Because listen, now the catastrophe is having real world consequences around the country, as you know. Violent crimes, brutal murders, Laken Riley and others that even in my home state of Louisiana, aggravated rape this past week by illegal aliens because Joe Biden is catching them and releasing them into the country. And it's caused an absolute catastrophic effect, and it will continue, Sean, sadly. So we have to push. The president has the executive authority to fix it right now. I told him at the White House yesterday, one-on-one, and in the group, I told him, Mr. President, if you just issue an executive order that reinstates remain in Mexico, sir, the Border Patrol, the own Border Patrol, your agents told us it would reduce the flow by 70%, almost overnight, because the message would go out throughout the world. Don't waste your life savings on a cartel. They're not going to be able to get you over the line. Stay where you are. Stay in Mexico. Stay in a safe third country. He won't do it, Sean. He told me that he didn't have the authority to do that. I said, that's just simply not true. President Trump did it. Why can't you do it? He said, oh, Mexico doesn't want that. Well, you're the president of the United States. You should act like.
Who cares what Mexico wants? Now all of a sudden, he can't do anything. He can't do anything. It's not up to him. Well, I've got a couple clips where he literally bragged about destroying the border and opening it up to anyone and everyone. I've got the clips, Joe. That's the great thing about the internet and video cameras. It lives on forever. Here you go.
We can deal with securing the border by national technical means. All the bad things are coming through ports of entry right now. We don't need a wall. And by the way, I would immediately, as president, surge to the border. I would end this notion for the first time in history that people seeking asylum have to be in squalor on the other side of the river and in a desperate situation. They should be able to come to the United States and have a judgment made as whether or not they qualify. I would also surge to the border. Immigration judges to make decisions immediately. And no one would be put in jail while waiting for their hearing.
Should undocumented immigrants arrested...
He literally just said it right there. But listen to her question and check out his answer.
Undocumented immigrants
for their hearing.
Should undocumented immigrants arrested by local police be turned over to immigration officials?
No. In the first 100 days of my administration, no one will be deported at all.
Oh, no one will be deported. Well, I'll be darned, Biden. You're admitting to it live on camera.
That point on, the only deportations that will take place are commissions of felonies in the United States of America.
So to be clear, only felons get deported and everyone else gets to stay?
Yes.
Everyone else gets to stay. And even the felons don't get deported. The guys that beat up the police officer, did they get deported? I'm pretty sure assaulting a police officer is a felony. Maybe I'm wrong. You know, I'm no legal professional, but I'm pretty sure if you put the paws on a police officer, that's most definitely a felony. Last time I checked, they didn't get deported. The person that murdered Miss Riley, is he deported? Oh. Lying once again. And here's another clip of Biden bragging about opening the border up and getting rid of Trump's closed border policies. He's saying it right here. I'm getting rid of Trump's closed border policies and I'm opening the border up.
Today I'm going to sign a few executive orders to strengthen the immigration system, building on the executive actions I took on day one to protect dreamers and to end the Muslim ban and to better manage our borders. And that's what these three different executive orders are about. And I want to make it clear, there's a lot of talk with good reason about the number of executive orders that I've signed. I'm not making new law. I'm eliminating bad policy. What I'm doing is taking on the issues that...
He is not making new law. He's eliminating bad policy. So he's not replacing Trump's policies with anything else. He's just getting rid of bad policy, which are Trump's policies. He admitted to it. He admitted to it. And now he has the nerve to try to get on national television and say it's Republicans' fault that the border is still open.
99% of them that the last president of the United States, issued executive orders I thought were very counterproductive to our security, counterproductive to who we are as a country, particularly.
The last president issued executive orders closing the border, the exact thing that Biden says he can't do right now. You can't make this stuff up. You can't make this up. Bro, share this video. Share this video with anybody and everybody. Because all of Americans need to see this. He's lying straight to people's face. He just admitted Trump used executive orders in order to close the border. Biden is now saying in 2024 that there is nothing he can do without Congress, when he just admitted that Trump had closed the borders himself. And that Trump's policies on the border were bad policies, so he was getting rid of them and not replacing them with anything new. And y'all remember where they said Biden said that they inherited a bad immigration situation? Oh, man. And, of course, one last clip. Here's Mayorkas bragging as well.
And I'd like to understand from you what Trump-era immigration policies have been banned, ended, reversed, and if any investigations are underway by you.
So we have rescinded so many Trump immigration policies, it would take so much time to...
Rescinded so many that it would take too much time to talk about them. But the border being wide open is Trump's fault. Of course. Of course. Blame it on Trump, okay? Blame it on Trump. Right.
President, thank you.
Thank you.
Sir, I want you to know, your agents, my agents, they're mad as hell. Absolutely mad that President Biden went to Brownsville, Texas, rather than going to Arizona, rather than going to San Diego, California, rather than coming to Eagle Pass, Texas, which has been the epicenter. What President Trump has seen right here is he's seen how his policies have worked, but he's also seen how he can expand upon those policies once he goes back into the White House. He has seen how Governor Abbott has been able to use his policies to secure this specific area, the epicenter of the last 2 years of the illegal border crisis that we have had to endure. And your agents, President, they are pissed. Border Patrol agents are upset that we cannot get the proper policy that is necessary to protect human life, to protect American citizens, to protect the people that are crossing the border illegally. We want to protect them as well. And we can't do that because President Biden's policies continue to invite people to cross here. Thank goodness we have a governor like Governor Abbott. Thank goodness we have somebody that's willing to run for president of the United States, forgo everything else that he's been doing to serve the American people. President, thank you.
Thank you very much.
Here's Greg Abbott.
You being here shows that today is a day of an extraordinary contrast. We have President Trump back in the state of Texas, literally on the border itself, a place that he's been to many times, talking about all the things that he's done to secure the border. At the very same time, we have President Biden down in Brownsville, Texas, which was an obligatory visit by him. He'd never been to the border. In fact, I don't think he's on the border itself right now. He's in some sanitized location in the Brownsville area, not seeing the razor wire that Texas has put up around Brownsville. And he announced that he was going to Brownsville after it was already known that President Trump was coming to the state of Texas. It just goes to show that Biden does not care about either Texas or the border and what's going on.
Bro, Biden doesn't care about the American people at all. At all. Y'all remember Maui? I haven't forgotten. I thought about making a video on it. This was probably 3 weeks ago now. Another video on it. Where's Biden been on that? All of this money that we're sending everywhere else, where's the money for Maui? Can anybody answer that question? You know, in a serious question to any Democrats watching, you say that Biden truly cares about the American people. I haven't seen him show it. Perfect example is Maui. I haven't even talked about East Palestine yet. What about those folks? Huh? Where's Biden on that? Biden would rather send money overseas to some other country rather than sending it to the people of Maui to rebuild their homes, to rebuild their communities, to help find some of the people that have allegedly gone missing. Same thing with the people of East Palestine. Biden went to Texas and talked about the climate rather than the young lady who lost her life. Now, I'm not saying that that's what his whole speech had to be about, but acknowledge her on some type of level, right? But he doesn't, because it doesn't fit the narrative. Doesn't fit the narrative. Now, if she had passed away due to gun violence, I guarantee you he would have said it. Guarantee it. Guarantee. Signed, sealed, stamped, and delivered. Guarantee it. Because it would have fit the narrative. He would have been able to push an agenda. We got to ban the weapons of war. Ban the weapons of war. But because it didn't fit the narrative, he said nothing. And because he saw Trump was going, he wanted to announce last minute, I'm going. Well, Biden, don't let the door hit you on the way out, is what I say. Okay? I wish you a healthy retirement, but we don't want you in the office anymore. And I think a lot of people agree with me. This has gotten ridiculous. And I think even some Democrats would agree. Democrats that probably don't even like Trump, but they really don't like you, Joe Biden. Because what you're doing is shameful. Lying straight to the American public's face. And I just proved it. I just showed the clips. Biden has talked about how he inherited this problem, which he didn't. Biden has talked about that he can't do anything about this issue, which he can. Biden has talked about that it's Republicans' fault that a bill hasn't gotten passed, but it's not. Democrats have had H.R. 2 on their desk for over a year now in the Senate. But nobody talks about Chuck Schumer not taking that one up. Interesting how that works. But we're going to call that out today. Y'all let me know what you thought about this one in the comment section below. Like, share, comment. Hit that subscribe button before you go. Peace and love. I'm out.